Okay, everyone. Good evening. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this regular meeting of the Planning Board of the Township of Franklin has been provided. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll.
Councilman Chase.
Here.
Mr. Houck.
Here.
Mr. Karazi. Ms. MacGyver.
Here.
Mr. Metler.
Here.
Mr. Manzarek.
Here.
Mr. Thomas. Ms. Ragnow.
Here.
Mr. Mola.
Here, please.
Chairman Orsini.
Here. Let me just make one announcement that I think will be pertinent. The hearing tonight for Balaji Property Solutions LLC is carried to September 7th, 2016, without further public notice. So if you're here for that application, theoretically, we'll be hearing it on September 7th. But it will not be advertised again.
That's the one at 23 Workman Street. It's being carried to September 7th.
The applicant has asked that it be carried because there's some title issues. There's some September 7th. The first Wednesday of September. No,
No,
not at this time.
not until we have the public hearing.
The plans are on file, so you are welcome to come into our office, 7:30 to 4:30, look at the plans, review the staff reports. So any comments you might have, you can ask staff any technical comments. Again, review the plans, review our reports, then you'll have more information before the board in September. Why don't you either call Vince or myself in the morning, we can answer. No, they're not available online. You have to come in. 7:30 to 4:30.
Okay. All right. Okay, so minutes for the regular meeting of May 8th. Can I have a motion for those?
Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Councilman Chase.
If I could just make a point, I noticed in looking at our resolution, and this is why you have a revised version tonight, that the address on Old Georgetown Road was wrong. The same correction should be made in the May 8th minutes.
Well,
141 Old Georgetown rather than
the
163.
minutes have to stay the same. The resolution will be corrected, and we'll correct it in the minute, because the testimony was at that address, and then we'll correct it in these minutes that address was incorrect. You know what I mean? In other words,
No, I don't see what you mean.
the testimony at the minutes that we're approving were that it was 161, it was incorrect. We can't change the minutes because that was the testimony. The resolution has to be corrected because it has to reflect the correct address. And in these minutes, we can refer to the fact that there was a mistake in the testimony.
Yeah, because there wasn't a typo in the minutes. There's
Yeah.
actual testimony that that was the address.
Right,
Then I didn't catch it then.
yeah.
None of us did.
But we've corrected the resolution, and these minutes will refer to the fact that it was a mistake.
Okay,
It's technical.
okay, then yes.
Mr. Houck.
Yes.
Ms. MacGyver.
Yes.
Mr. Metler.
Yes.
Ms. Ragnow.
Yes.
Mr. Mola. Yes. Chairman Orsini.
Yes. Regular meeting minutes from June 1st of 2016.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Mr. Houck.
Yes.
Ms. MacGyver.
Yes.
Mr. Metler.
Yes.
Ms. Ragnow.
Yes.
Chairman Orsini.
Yes. So, resolutions. We have 413 Somerset Street Associates LLC.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
MacGyver.
Yes.
Mr. Metler.
Yes.
Ms. Ragnow.
Yes.
Chairman Orsini.
Yes. J. Lakshmi Vishnu LLC.
Move Move to approve.
Second.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
MacIver.
Yes.
Smetler.
Yes.
Ms. Ragnow.
Yes.
Chairman Orsini.
Yes. And lastly, our own resolution, or?
Corrected, that resolution is in front of you and has the correct address as per Councilman Chase's.
And we know who was recused, so I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Hauk,
Yes.
Ms. MacIver,
Yes.
Mr. Metler,
Yes.
Ms. Ragnow,
Yes.
Mr. Mola,
Yes.
Chairman Orsini.
Yes. Vouchers, Clark and Invignuolo, our
Move to
planning board
approve.
attorney for $833.33.
Move to
Second.
approve.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Mr. Hauk,
Yes.
Ms. MacIver,
Yes.
Mr. Metler,
Yes.
Ms. Ragnow,
Yes.
Mr. Mola,
Yes.
Chairman Orsini.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
And now we'll open the meeting to comments on any hearings that are not having their own hearing tonight. So with that, I'll make a motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on a matter which is not otherwise going to have its own hearing tonight is welcome to come up and do so.
Seeing no one come forward, I move to close to the public.
Second.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 745 Hamilton Street LLC. At long last.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, we have the engineering report in front of us. The engineering department has reviewed the geotech report, and the report indicates that the geotech works. The report indicates that a stormwater management report had not been submitted. It has since the report been submitted, and they are reviewing it. The geotech report indicates that the stormwater management report will work, so.
Okay? Peter?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Lanford appearing on behalf of the applicant. If the board recalls, on March 2nd, 2016, I appeared on behalf of the applicant, and on that evening presented the testimony for a three-lot minor subdivision, as well as a preliminary and final major subdivision. The three lots fronted on Martin Street, the site plan for the mixed-use building, the building fronted on Hamilton, DeWald, and the rear of the property was on Martin Street. The plan that was presented that evening was a fully conforming plan with no variances. We presented the testimony that evening of the architect, the site engineer, and our traffic consultant. So everything was in. The only issue was, as Mr. Dominack pointed out, the geotech information, which has been since provided. So at this juncture, everything is before the board, and I would respectfully request that this matter be approved.
Is there anything in the engineer's report dated June 30th, 2016 that says not satisfied that you cannot satisfy?
We've reviewed the report, and they're all just minor details that we will, and actually most of them are carryovers from the previous report, and we are working on the revisions to that.
And they have, since this report, have submitted additional information that we expect the majority, if not all of them, to be satisfied.
And
Nothing in the report that's not satisfied will affect the site plan.
Yeah, no, they're all fairly minor comments, but, you know, it's important to make sure that the board knows that they can all be satisfied and that the applicant doesn't have anything to discuss. Does the board have any questions for?
Yes, please. You said some minor questions, right, need to be raised. Can you give an examples of those minor things, please?
The engineering report, if I can pull it out, yeah. Yeah, we have to at the end. Yeah, we have some.
Well, for example, Peter, under
yeah.
general review, comment 1, that's a good example,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a sort of a,
Yeah, we have a 14-page report that was issued by engineering. there are certain details that needed to be changed. The parking information needed to be updated. The setback dimensions had to be provided on the plan. Again, these are all minor things that don't affect what the building looks like, doesn't affect,
Just at the periphery.
yeah. It's
I mean,
just,
there are comments like provide the left arrow and only traffic marking to facilitate. The majority of the things are technical in nature that they have to, none of which affect the actual site plan that you're approving.
And
And if they did affect it, they'd have to come back.
And that's really the important thing, is basically the application that's before you in terms of the site plan that they presented at the previous hearing and the architecturals. That's not changing. It's basically, it's all the details kind of behind that are changing. And behind that, and technically, you know, what's below the ground, some of that design needs to be worked out in terms of the stormwater, but nothing above ground of significance is changing. It's a bunch of details that they need to work out. Along those lines, they do have comments that, from other staff members, and at the last hearing, they agreed to comply with those comments as well. So I did a report that we talked about at the last meeting, and some other staff members did as well. So if you were to approve the project, it would be subject to satisfying those reports as well.
Okay.
You know, since it was way back in March, I don't remember, but something caught my eye. Under comments 44 through 46 to 48, it says the applicant has removed a proposed single-family dwelling. Was that true in March, or was that in something new since?
what happened was the original plan that was submitted had a single-family dwelling on the same side as the mixed-use building. So there were 4 single-family lots. We took, by the time we got to the board, the single-family lot that was on the same side as the mixed-use building was removed from the plan. So on the Hamilton Street side of Martin Street is nothing but the mixed-use building. On the other side of Martin Street, there are 3 single-family lots.
Okay.
The original plan was for 4.
And so what's happening on that side of Martin Street?
Between Hamilton and Martin is
On the other side of Martin Street, the
It's a-
northerly side of Martin.
it's a 3-lot subdivision, all conforming lots.
And are you going to put in utility connections at this time?
A- ac-
Because when Martin Street is paved, then you can't put them in for 5 years.
We have to build, Martin Street doesn't even exist there, it's a paper
Yeah.
street, so we're building the street and putting all the connections in for the houses.
You
correct?
will put in the
Yes.
house, the utility connection?
Yes.
Good.
And Ted, the staff comment goes to the fact that once Martin Street exists, they can't, then the 5-year moratorium.
Well, that's why I was asking the question.
No, I know. I'm just clarifying for you.
Peter,
Yes, sir.
when was the revised stormwater report submitted to the town for review?
I don't know when it was submitted.
It was last week.
It was, I think it was last week.
It was
but I-
last week. Because it was routed through our office, and it was submitted to engineering last week.
Yeah, it involved relocating the underground system. Because of the perk tests that were done, we can move the system further away from the building, which was Mr. Vega's concern. The pipes are larger, so the system has changed based on Mr. Vega's recommendations, but he has not reviewed it.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah,
Ted?
questions, I think it's, yeah, 69 through 73. Since you were last before us, council has passed a new ordinance on lighting pollution, and I wondered whether you've checked whether your current plans are whether they meet the requirements of the new ordinance.
I did not check, and quite frankly, I think based on the fact that this application was reviewed and submitted before the ordinance, we would not be subject to it. However, I will have my site engineer look at it, and if we can accommodate it, we will. But I think since the application was submitted, at the time it was deemed complete, those are the ordinances that are controlling. So,
I think Mr. Lanford is technically correct. I don't think it would be unreasonable, though, to have a condition along the lines of that the applicant will work with staff to make the site as compliant as possible with the new ordinance. I don't think
Yeah,
knowing what the ordinance says, I don't think that it'll be that
Yeah.
big of a
I
lift.
I doubt that there will be a real problem, but I'm just calling it to your attention since those particular items in the engineering report are listed as not satisfied, so
That is correct.
we have to know that
I will
is
ma-
satisfied.
I will make sure the site engineer gets a copy of the new ordinance, and when he does the revisions, if we can
Yeah.
incorporate them, we will.
Yeah, the new ordinance was basically codifying what was our practice anyway, you know, shielding lights so that they don't shine onto neighboring properties.
And your staff normally reviews for that anyway, but
Yeah,
we'll take a look at it.
So Peter, since engineering hasn't had an opportunity to review the revised stormwater report, you're going to agree that any and all new comments will be worked out with engineering,
Yes,
whether it be Julio or Tom?
yeah.
And I think further to that, if any of those changes, we don't anticipate, but if those changes result in any changes to the site plan that are meaningful, they'll have to come back to the board. Again, we don't anticipate that'll happen because it's an underground system, but that's an obvious condition that they'll have to agree to.
Mr. Vega and I have had numerous discussions. I don't think the revisions will affect what the board is looking at. They're all underground, and it's just relocating the stormwater management to a different section of the parking lot.
And the majority of the changes that were made in conformance with what Mr. Vega wanted to do in moving it away from the building. So the applicant has agreed to do that based on the geotech report.
Any other questions? No? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to open to the public on this.
Move to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this application will now come forward?
Seeing no one coming forward, I would move that the public hearing on this application be closed.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I don't think you have too much to say, so let's just go ahead and entertain a motion then.
I'll move to approve the application with the condition that our engineering department is satisfied on all their points.
Second.
Councilman Chase.
I'm going to vote no. I'm just unhappy about this, just leaving everything to engineering and never bringing plans before this board. I mean, what's the use of a board if it's just everything is settled between the applicant and engineering?
Ms. MacGyver?
Yes.
Mr. Mettler?
Yes.
Mr. Manzarek?
Yes.
Mr. Hauk?
I agree with Ted. Specifically, used to do reviews on the stormwater report, management reports, which engineering hasn't even given a second review on. I'm going to vote no.
Ms. Ragnow?
I share the same concerns about the stormwater report too, just, we're making a decision based on information that we don't have. So I think right now I'm gonna say no.
Mr. Mola?
I want to stress one point. According to this report, there's a lot of inconsistency because certain things were left out, and it appears that we are like it's not clear enough to me. Until that is resolved, I will say no.
Chairman Orsini?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I take the points of the people who voted no, and I can't really disagree with them because, throughout this application, it seems that we have not, for whatever the reason, gotten everything that we should have gotten. And, we've taken on hearsay tonight that, the geotech works. That's what we hear. Now, it's not that any of us can really technically interpret that, but we don't even have a report before us that states that from a professional, and that's difficult to support. So I'll also vote no.
Thank you.
All right, last application?
What?
I don't know what to say. You disapprove.
Somebody ought to review the municipal land use law as to what the powers of this board are, but that's fine.
Well, I mean, you've heard the comments of the board. All I can say is, it's one of the few applications I've seen where, we've been asked to take a lot on faith. And I think that you heard tonight that maybe you've asked us to take too much on faith. And,
It's,
that's.
I'm not going to argue it here. Some court will tell us sooner or later that either I'm right or you're right. So I would just ask that Mr. Vignolo would prepare the resolution, and we'll go from there.
You're always welcome to come back with a complete plan. Save everybody a lot of time and trouble. All right, New Casino Car Wash LLC.
Gets the
Gillen,
plans
16.
in time for review.
All right, look, Ted, we made our decision. We've spoken our piece. Let's move on. New Casino Car Wash.
When it gets.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Lanford appearing on behalf of the applicant. This is an application to build an accessory structure to the existing car wash on Route 27. We are before this board for a site plan approval, and the only variance we have is a setback variance because the accessory structure is within 10 feet of the side yard setback. The structure itself is a structure that has a roof on it and no side, and, I'm sorry, let me get the plans back out. 3 sides, and it's open at the front, and there is a sign on the structure. There is also a requirement for the accessory structure for the sign. For the record, we will reduce the size of the sign to make it conforming with the ordinance. I have one witness this evening, Mr. Cohn, so if we can have him sworn in.
Do you swear the testimony you're going to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
If you could state your name, spell your last name, and give your address for the record, please.
My name is Oriel Cohen, O-R-I-E-L. Last name is C-O-H-E-N.
Your address, sir?
My address?
Mhm.
It's
Your
Route.
home address is fine.
My
Yeah.
home address?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I just moved on, so I don't remember the address.
I didn't know it would be such a hard question.
Sorry about it. I just moved.
That means
a week ago.
that means we can't get approved.
It's,
I can give you the business address if you want.
that'd be great.
What's the business address?
It's on Route 3161, Route 27, Franklin Park, New Jersey.
Okay. Mr. Cohn, you operate the car wash at the subject property, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and on the subject property, there is a car wash, there is also a gas dispensing facility, fuel dispensing, and automotive repair that takes place on the property, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you solely operate the car wash?
I'm only operating the house, yes.
There is a separate operator for the gas dispensing,
Yes.
and there's also a separate operator for the automotive repair, correct?
Correct.
The car wash that you operate at the site, how long have you operated it?
About 3 years.
Okay. And what are your hours of operation?
Is from 8 to 7. It's in the winter time, we're getting like to 6, but 8 to 7 in general, yes.
Okay. And how many employees do you have?
7, 8, between 7 to 8.
Okay. And with respect to the car wash operation, you're there almost every day, full-time?
Yes.
And how do your employees get to work?
Majority is bus. They go by bus.
Okay. Now, at the present time, do you conduct detailing on the property?
Right now,
Yes.
not much. Really more of the interior detailing because it's more easy for us to work when, on the interior. The outside we cannot do when it's really hot because we need cover.
And the reason that we are here tonight is to propose to construct a canopy so you can do interior detailing.
Yeah, exterior detail. Yeah,
Exterior detailing,
Yes,
I'm
correct.
sorry.
Yeah.
The area that you are proposing to construct a canopy, is it already a paved area?
Yes.
Okay, and what takes place at that paved area at this time?
Right now they have some self-serve vacuum over there.
Okay, and are the self-serve vacuums used generally?
Actually, not much. They keep breaking off, but not much. No.
So you're just going to take that area, which is basically the equivalent of 2 spots of self-serve vacuum, and put the canopy on that area?
Correct.
Now, the vacuuming for the other vehicles that are being washed, you vacuum those vehicles before they go through the car wash?
Yes, on the entrance. Yeah, we do the vacuum on the entrance.
Okay. Now, how many vehicles, assuming you're busy, how many vehicles can you detail in a given day?
Between 2 to 4. Every detail take between 3 to 5 hours. Depends on the condition.
Okay, and so you would be detailing up to 4 vehicles a day, and the detail center that we're proposing, you can do 2 vehicles at one time within that detail center?
Yes.
Okay, and would they be by appointment only?
Yes.
Okay, so customers will make an appointment to have their vehicles detailed. Once you detail the car, what would you do with the car if the customer was not there to pick it up?
Usually, I give them, before we even finish, I give them half an hour before we finish just to come and pick it up the car. But if they don't pick it up the car on time, I'm just parking it I can park it on the designated parking spot that I got over there.
Okay, and is there a parking problem on the site?
Not that I know.
Okay, and is that, in your opinion, the most appropriate location for the detailing? Did you look at other locations to try to move the detail center 10 feet away from the property line?
Yes, this is the best way for us to do a detail without to take the car back and forth. So it's operated way, it's the best way.
Now, you and I looked at some staff reports that were generated in conjunction with this application, and Mr. Healy prepared a report, and in his report, he discussed, opined on the grant of the variance. I'm not going to spend some time reviewing that. The next question that Mr. Healy asked is how the detail center would work. The situation is that the car that comes to be detailed would be washed first?
First, they wash, yeah, and they're getting into the bay, to the detail center.
Okay. So it would go through the car wash, and then your employee would take it from the car wash right to the detail center?
Yes, under
And
the
then you'd work
canopy.
on the car.
Correct.
Okay. Now, you also already testified as to where the car was parked after detailing. The detail center, the fabric of the detail center is a
I think
canopy?
canopy, yeah, it's canopy.
And is fabric.
Fabric.
Okay. Mr. Healy, with respect to your zoning data chart, there are additional parking spaces on site. All we showed were the ones that were affected by this application, but if you even looked at the aerials that were in the staff reports, there's parking spaces to the rear and other spots. If you want them delineated on a plan, we'll revise the plan to delineate all of the parking spaces. We didn't think the rest of them were relevant, but we will be glad to delineate them. And as far as the issue of no change in the parking spaces, those 2 spots that we're using for the detail center were actually vacuuming spots and were not parking spaces, so we are not reducing any parking spaces.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't have to look to aerial photos to see, I mean, that's a pretty standard thing. I mean, it's a site plan
understand.
approval, you're changing some layout a little bit, show the existing, show the proposed.
Yeah, we will show it. I don't have a problem doing that. The landscaping that is currently there, if any, will be retained. If the board or Mr. Healy wants some additional landscaping between that detail center in the Dunkin' Donuts site. I'm happy to do that. I did present a colored rendering, and I have additional copies that I presented to evidence of the detail center. As per the request of Mr. Healy, I would like to have that marked as A1.
Want me to mark it for you? I got a pen. A1, PLN, 16-00002, 7/20/2016.
There needs to be a correction of the coverage. We'll take care of that, and also the modification of the recently approved approval we will take care of. And I think that covers all of the staff reports. I don't think any other.
What's the canopy made of?
It's a fabric.
It's fabric, okay. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you had said it before. How big is the sign?
We will make it a it was over the requirement, the zone requirement. We will make it a conforming sign under 30 feet.
So you make it 30 feet or less, okay.
Can I ask a question? I need to wait.
Since engineering has no comment, I guess, then
When this fabric starts looking shabby, which, I mean, it's going to, given all the rain and pollution that it's going to be exposed to, how are you going to take care of keeping it nice looking?
Okay, first, when they have like more than 5 years warranty on it. So if anything happened to it, they're going to replace it. They are giving us more than 5 years to a warranty on the fabric. But if it's going to wear after 5 years, I need to replace it. And that's what I will do.
Well, I wasn't really talking about wearing. I was talking about, you know, with the dust and traffic going by and the soot coming down, it's going to start to look gray and discolored and not so attractive as it looks here. How are you going to take care of keeping it nice looking?
Okay, there is a company also that provide cleaning for those kind of fabric. Okay, you can call them and they coming anytime you need to, and they will clean it. They have a professional people to clean that.
And you will do that?
Of course.
Any other
questions?
Or, I'm
No,
sorry.
I need to go through the, I guess I have to go through all the staff reports for the record. The fire prevention has no objection to this application. And we've received county approval on this, and the DRCC has already approved this application. And I guess since the application meets all of the other comments, I don't have any additional testimony to ask of this witness.
Questions from the board?
Only one, which is being enclosed on 3 sides but open on one side. I guess I would be very concerned about a northeaster. The open side faces the northeast, and I would hate to see this thing go sailing up over Dunkin' Donuts. And is there some record, are these things quite stable in a high wind?
I have 2 of them already. Usually in a car wash, they are very common in the enter and in the exit, and they close from like 3 sides as well. And they are solid, strong, and they are very, very, it's made very, very solid.
Okay.
And I have them for 3 years.
Good.
And they've been even in the last storm, everything was okay. So they keep up.
Good.
They survived Hurricane Sandy?
Yeah. Actually, even the last time that we got a snow, you remember last winter?
Yes,
It was.
30-inch snow?
Yes,
And
we
they
got it
held
right.
up.
Yes. They build in a way that everything slide off.
Jen?
Just, could you clarify for me with the car wash and the cars coming in off of 27 and then leaving sort of the car wash area and going into the detailing, when you have cars that are getting washed, and then you have cars that are getting detailed sort of where the shop vacs are
Yes.
right now. How are you going to deal with, like, business going really well, and you've got all these cars coming in, and it's 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, and rush hour traffic is on 27? How are you, could you just clarify how you're gonna move the traffic through there?
Okay, basically, if you, where is that? Let me just. Okay, so if you see like the canopy exit. Okay, basically
For the record, he's referring to sheet 2 of the plan set that was submitted in conjunction with this application. Mr. Vignola, would you like that marked?
I don't know that we need it marked if it was part of the packet that was already submitted to the board. Thank you, Mr. Lanford.
You're welcome.
Okay, so your question, how I'm gonna handle if it's gonna be like a high traffic? The good things about details that when you wash it one time and you just going, you put the car in the canopy, you basically forgetting about the car for like 5 hours. You're not moving the cars back and forth. So the next time that I will need to move the car is only when the customer need to pick it up.
Okay.
So I basically need to move the car one time after I park it. And we always find the time when there is no cars just to park it. If the customer doesn't come to pick it up, park it in the parking spot that it's going to be easy for the customer to move it.
Okay, and as additional clarification, the customers do not drive their cars through the car wash, is that correct?
Yeah, it
So every car that comes out of the car wash is driven by an employee, and then once the car is dried off, it's then picked up by the customer if he's not being detailed and leaves the subject property. If the car is being detailed, then your employee would take it into the detail center, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can I say that aspect of the,
Could you pick the plan up?
Yeah,
Michelle?
Sorry.
yeah, just for me to have a good understanding of what he was talking about.
You want me to come to?
Because I live very close by, so I know.
This is the entrance
Right.
to the tunnel. Is it a tunnel? Is it the exit? The cars will be, the detailing area is here. They enter here, here, here. This is the other part, the parking spot. The car is finished.
So how many lots?
It's only one parking space here. But they have 6 parking spaces.
Okay, that's what I want to resolve. All right. He fully gave me a good understanding of the parking space they have, because he was talking about just one spot. So, assuming you have a peak time where you have a lot of customers, what happens? But he clarifies it now.
Okay.
So you're okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything else?
I have no further witnesses.
Okay. Motion open to the public on this application?
I would move that a public hearing be held on this application.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this?
Seeing no one coming forward, I would move that the public hearing on this application be closed.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can entertain a motion then.
I would move approval of the application.
Seconded?
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Mr. Hauk.
Yes.
MacIver.
Yes.
Mr. Mettler.
Yes.
Mr. Manzarek.
Yes.
Mr. Rangnow.
Yes.
Mr. Mola.
Yes.
Chairman Orsini.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Vince, we have anything else?
That will be it.
See you in September? Is that true?
Yes.
All right.
Currently, there's no meeting in August, and I don't think there will be.
So everyone, enjoy the rest of your
So
summer.
unless you hear from us, we won't be meeting till September.
We are adjourned.
So September 7th, right?